Okay, folks, happy Saturday. I'm going to try to clear our desk area here a little bit because it's getting out of control. Specifically focusing on the stuff for this next build that I've been talking about for a little bit. And I'm going to do something new that I've never done on any of the Gaslands builds yet. It's nothing I've never done before, but I've never done it this way. Let's go ahead and keep our phone charged just in case we're going to need that. I think this will... See, do we want to switch this out? I had a problem sourcing like the cardboard that I use, so I'm like, well, we just cut out boxes and use that. The problem with boxes is, well, there's an advantage and a disadvantage to using, just the size of a cardboard box. It's hollow. So because it's hollow, when you cut on it, it like crimps into this. So it's kind of something, I've had some scares thinking I broke a piece, and that wasn't the case. But if you're actually working on something that that is thicker, and you're trying to cut it down, it allows you to actually go through the membrane and kind of hold it in place. So it's almost kind of like an advantage. Like if I need to cut things off of this, which I may have to do, that's kind of actually helpful. But it's not good to cut things on here. Like if you're cutting strips of plastic or decals per se, then you don't want to cut against this because you don't have a good surface against it. And that's what we're going to do. Is we've got these decals that I've ordered from eBay, and they're for a Twinkies. I was just kind of floating around. I want to do a Twinkie truck, and this eBay seller has all kinds of interesting things. I've never bought for them before, and they look really professional, honestly. He's got a lot of sales on there. I don't remember what his name is, Decal Dale or something like that. And hopefully this goes okay. We'll definitely be ordering more things from him. He makes a few things that are interesting that would work with what I got in mind for Gaslands kind of stuff. But we've got this decal set for this Twinkie truck. I don't know what the original one is supposed to look like because there's some stripes on here. I'm probably going to look that up in a second. Shouldn't you have looked that up before you ordered the decals? Not really, because honestly, I just wanted it to say Twinkies. Everything else is just kind of extra. It doesn't mean I'm not going to put it on there. It's just like it wasn't a big selling point. There's all kinds of things here. There's some pictures of treats, like maybe products that they have, some actual Twinkies themselves. Looks like some fake little stop sign decals. Says, stop children crossing. Caution, please watch for children. A couple little lights, some decals I think that are made for like the dash inside the vehicle. Okay, don't care about that. We're going to have this thing all closed up. Some hostess symbols here. Several of them. A Twinkie and a cowboy hat with a rope. And some striping here, which I'm not really sure where it goes. Now, it's not necessarily made for this vehicle. I think it's made for like a van. He does a lot of decals for vans. And I'm just going to go to his decal and see what's shown there as an example. Like I said, I got it for the Twinkie logo, the Twinkie. So let's go to eBay, purchases. Yeah, it's like $4.50 for this, which is pretty reasonable, and it's like 50 cents shipping. That's where things get out of control, is with shipping. And obviously 50 cents is on par to, I don't want to have to order 10 decal sets to make it worthwhile to get. So ordering one at a time is like awesome. Okay, this is for an ice cream truck, and this is the actual vehicle it's for. This is how it's shown. Now, I've got lots of ice cream trucks. This just isn't going to be one of them. I'm not going to make a monster truck ice cream thing. And it's on a white. You got the little Twinkie guys here on the back. So it gives you some kind of examples of how to use it. I'm not going to use it on this vehicle. I'm going to use it on this vehicle. I'd gotten 2 of these accidentally. Using it on this vehicle right here. This is a Monster Dairy Delivery. Ryleman's Dairy Delivery. And I had this is kind of like this baby blue, this sky blue. And I had one that was kind of like a cream color. Almost like a beige. More like a beige color than a cream color. And that's the one I decided to take apart. Took the undercarriage off of it. It was cream and had blue tires. So the tires will be repurposed for something else. Here's the interior of it. We took it apart, we stripped it, brought it to bare metal, primed it yesterday, airbrushed it, and I wanted a specific color. I wanted it to be like a lemon cream type color. So this is it right here. This is going to be the base color of the Twinkie truck. And we used craft paint. So yes, you can airbrush craft paint. Honestly, it didn't give me any trouble using the Mr. Abbas's magic fluid to thin this thing down. It's called Daybreak by Folk Art. Folk Art, in my opinion, is probably the best quality, thickest pigment, best pigment craft paint out there. I just happen to have this color already. And used very little air. I could have hand painted this and would have had to go over it, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. So airbrushing is a lot less frustrating, let's put it that way, and like no brush strokes. And then we gave it a coat of the clear coat. So we clear coated it with the stuff that I normally apply to decals. So this thing's ready to go. It's got a gloss finish, or maybe a semi-gloss finish, really. And we're going to see where the decals are going to go on this, put the decals on it, and put it together. I didn't want to put it together first, and then because it's going to be hard to deal with. But other couple challenges I had is I wanted to make this a monster truck, and a lot of these monster trucks that you get at the toy store are really, really big. They're excruciatingly large. The wheels are, without exaggerating, this big around. Okay, and when you're talking about something on a body of this size, it's just way out of line and just is too physically large for this game and for the amount of damage it can take. They can only take 10 damage. So I found at the dollar store these off-brand, and I did an unboxing of them, I'm pretty sure, of these particular vehicles that are more in size with what a monster truck would be. And this is what's going to be the undercarriage of the Twinkie truck. Now, the inside of these is hollow, of the wheels, is hollow on the inside, and it has these dividers divided in three. I don't know if you can see them right there, but I did not want them to be just like that. I filled them in with hot glue. Now I'm gonna have to trim them a little bit. It's gonna be all mudded up, and you're not gonna be able to tell, but it's gonna look better than just having the. I mean, they were completely hollow all the way to here, so you could, if you looked at it at the right angle, and it wasn't that difficult to do, you could see that this was like running on tires that weren't really gonna work. So we took this thing apart. There was no easy way to do it, so I actually drilled through here and I can slide them out and they'll be hot glue gunned in place, once we're done with it. Okay. I think I left enough of it that it actually grabs a little bit. And this is the undercarriage of the vehicle that was like this. I'm not sure which way it went. It's actually a Monster Jam, but it's the small Monster Jam. Because Monster Jam makes trucks that are the same size as those Hot Wheels ones, but they're 60% bigger. At least 60% bigger. They're too big, in my opinion. So, where's the inside of this thing? Did it have an inside? This is the shark. This was the top of it. I actually got the one that had the black wheels. I could repaint them. There's all kinds of body styles. That's why I picked this one. Oh, I don't think it had it. I don't think it had an interior. Might have had windows or something like that. But anyways, so it was something like this. I just picked this up. It was $1. Yeah, it even says Monster Jam. So we may use this for another car, a standard car that, maybe a lowrider or whatever, something. And this is the inside of the Twinkie truck, or what was the delivery. Now we had to cut these things down because they were really big, and just to sit something like this. I mean, man, the airbrushing turned out really. I've come a long way on airbrushing, and it is an uphill battle. And it was made a lot easier by using that Kuram mixing fluid. I should put a link to his video here or something like that. It's definitely kept me from quitting doing airbrushing, because I definitely had some situations where I'm like, why did I even get one of these things? Well, I had my reasons, but yeah, I think this is like there's like a little cage here, and yeah, this is the front. And then we're gonna have a ram that's gonna fit up here. Something like that. That's basically the look of the vehicle. And this thing will keep it right where it needs to be. What happens if we flip it the other way? Well, that works too. Interesting. I might actually flip it the other way. Okay, does this work better up here? Well, it gives me a little ledge for this to sit on. Lights are so big the driver can't see where he's going. That's not relevant to me. I might actually sit better this way. What do you think about that? Well, regardless, I'm going to do one thing. I don't necessarily need to do the inside of this. If I put the inside of this vehicle on here, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to cut this down some so that it'll fit in such a way about like that. Okay? And if I do that, then I've got more places for this ram to go. So I got some stuff to think about. width-wise? How is this looking? You know, if I don't use this, I have this to use for another vehicle. The reality is, I don't know that, okay, that goes like that, that there's something that would be that useful with this. There might be. Yeah, I think I'm just throwing random things on here that some body that we can put on here. I think this would be all right. Let's keep this body. Let's keep that. We could use this with something else, and we could lift something out, including like, where's that beetle? That beetle that I got that had those extra parts. Here it is. Well, the frame on this is a little too long. Of course, this is kind of an oversized beetle anyways, but something like that, you know, something to, this actually fits pretty close. Yeah, you know, just put something else in here in its place kind of thing. So I think we're going to keep, I talked myself into keeping this. This is what I do. I run my mouth and I brainstorm. I don't, you know, if I had a particular way that things had to look, yeah, but there's a lot of stuff I have some flexibility on that I don't care one way or another as long as it's kind of cool. Okay. Yeah, we'll keep that. We got to use this beetle for something. With these extra parts that came from the, what was it from? Five and Below? Yeah. I don't really like those cars. I mean, I got them. It was kind of a cool video doing that with my daughter and picking out some cars, but was it? I don't know that they're that useful. They're very poor quality. They're very thin. The metal, not that that's a big deal, but it doesn't help. All right, so these are the parts that we have here. Let's see if this glue, I don't want it to like stick too far out. We are going to paint this like there's mud on the inside or caked on there. So let's go ahead and now that we have our contacts out, let's go ahead and cut these little bits and make sure at least it's kind of even on the inside. And then we'll prime the inside of this and the little ram. Oh, I know what I was going to do. So I was kind of putting it all together offline yesterday. I got home from work, and I'm like, let's go ahead and prime this little Twinkie truck. This should work. I'm going to heat this thing up, and I'm going to use a tip that's already hot. To smooth out some of this after I cut this excess off. This took a lot of glue. A lot. I mean, those sticks of glue, I probably went through 4 of them. Maybe more, just filling the inside of these tires. But I don't think it was gonna work how we had it. Is not filling them in. And I also ground the outside because it had like had some writing on the tire. I think it said BKT, and I don't know that, I wanted that on there. When you dry brush it, that's gonna like be really noticeable. I don't know what tire brand BKT is, but it used to be a really big challenge. It's just, I don't fight with it. I don't fight with it like I used to. So, and that's what it is. It took a long time to be comfortable with it. Okay, that side's pretty good. Let's cut the excess of this glue. Yeah, this took a lot of glue, and I still have some voids in here. Gonna make some caffeine. All right. Na zdrowie. Was that shirt that they make is I'm powered by caffeine and sarcasm. That would be me. I gotta have my caffeine. I don't drink that much caffeine. I drink less than I used to, but thank you. All right, now I'm gonna try to not. I don't know if this is gonna work. Yeah, I really didn't want you. Oh, can I get away with doing this? I've never done this before. Just backing this out. I don't need any more glue yet. I just wanted to use this hot tip. To kind of smooth out what was already there. This is kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, for one, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't like being frugal, and then it costs you a shitload of work, right? Because it's like, oh man, I don't want to spend $10 on something. The example with the airbrushes, oh, you should just buy an airbrush. It costs $20. I said, well, if the airbrush that costs $20 is going to cost you $200 worth of frustration, etc., then you shouldn't buy a $20 airbrush. So I don't recommend buying a cheap ass fucking thing. I mean, I got a cheap airbrush just to prove that it was something, just to see if it was something that it was going to be something I had a use for. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on something, and I realized, I don't know why I got this airbrush. I don't really have a use for it. So once I came to the conclusion that I did have a use for it, then I'm like, well, this is really useful, but this airbrush is a pain in the ass. So I don't recommend anybody buying a, Harbor Freight or cheapo airbrush, because it's just going to cost you a lot of frustration. Just make sure it's something you need first, as I never encourage people to buy things they don't need. That's just stupid. And then don't buy something that's going to give you a lot of frustration, because, you know, you're worth it. You know, don't spend money on something that makes your life more difficult. This is actually working really well. What I really wanted to do is take all four of these wheels off, set them aside. So it's, this is, hot glue is kind of, it's gravity. It evens itself up by gravity. What's the word I'm thinking of? Self-leveling to a degree. Okay. Especially while it's hot. And I wanted to pull them all out and then do all four of them, but I can't take these things off. I mean, and I've tried. I could cut them off, but then I got a different problem. So I just did one side and then flipped them and did the other side. Let it cool, do the other side kind of thing. But I spent a fair amount of time, babysitting this. We just need to put some finishing touches on it. This will look really good when we're done. At least the tires. I don't know if the decals, I'll be happy with it, but if not, we'll do something else with it. But the color is exactly the color I was looking for. That's why there's man, I don't need to buy a Vallejo color. Let me just use craft paint, and I think it worked. I think it worked just fine. Self-leveling, yeah. I'm vocabulary challenged sometimes. I've said before, usually it's, my mouth is outpacing my brain, which, may not be a surprise, but that's what happens when you're slow. There's not much in there, so I can flip this over and be okay. This one's got a bigger. I was working on the. I was doing this at the airbrush station, and I can't get this close to what I'm working on at the airbrush station. So I did 85% of it there, and we're going to finish up the rest of it here. But the hot glue gun, man, it dries almost instantaneously. Okay, now we're going to need another shell casing. All right, load me another one. How are we doing on this bag that we thought was never going to end? 75 mini counts, and I've got 17 left. I got basically the whole morning to myself. The girls are each going, well, they're asleep now, but they're each going their separate ways, doing things that they need to do that don't really involve me. So I may go do something fun, whatever the hell that means. I think I'm going to get I had a styrofoam cutter, and it went bad. It wasn't a very good quality one, and it went. Well, actually, I spent a lot of money for it, but it's also very old, and it went bad. And I think I'm going to get I think I may go to Harbor Freight and get one of their. Then you look at those things on Amazon, and the reviews are all over the place. They're like, so when I bought the hot glue gun, right? I'm like, okay, there's 50 million of them, and they're all there's 50 of them within $3 of each other in price, and they're all some make-believe company from China. So I'm like, well, how am I going to decide one that's not going to catch fire or stop working or something like that? So that's why I went with the Gorilla Glue one. I figured, well, if there's some ownership, if there's some branding on it, maybe there's a little bit better QC, even though they're all made in the same company. And this thing has been solid. This thing has been really, really good. So yeah, same thing with the foam cutters, man. They're all over the place. Proxon is the brand for foam cutter. Well, I don't want to spend $100 on it either. Proxon. Okay, let's look it up. But Harbor Freight actually has one that's about $30. I don't want one with a wire. I had one of those, and it's kind of limiting. And the only reason I want to do is I got big chunks of foam from work that they dispose of almost on a daily basis. That they're small pieces, but for what I'm doing, they're huge. Right? You're talking about blocks that are like this, that are basically free. Now they're not the one that's the high density one. They're the ones that are made of the pellets. You know, and let's look up Proxon. See what those things are going. Proxon. No. I didn't want to put Proton. Proxon. Did they turn this thing again? They did. God damn it. I freaking hate spell correct. And I can tell you, since I've had this phone, I've had to do it about 6 times. I cannot stand it correcting me, you know. It's okay if it like corrects what I'm writing, because I'm, you know, but Proxon, let me just go Proxon hot foam. There we go. Yeah, I don't need a table. Because like I said, all I want to do is take chunks that are like this big and make buttes out of them. You know, like something from Wile E. Coyote, like stuff to drive around for Gaslands. If you can picture that. Just something real basic. Yeah, I mean, $128. I actually can get it today. $128 isn't bad if it's something you're going to use all the time. I'm, you know, that's like the only thing that they have on here. But these things, like from that name, stuff like this. Okay, here's a set that looks pretty good. Cool top. But I don't need all that shit. I want one that's like more durable. And the reviews on it are like, it's great. It worked after one time. You know. The tool's well worth their price, however, the reliability and durability received mixed feedback. Some say it works fantastically, others report it stops working and the wand breaks after first use. Heat retention is also mixed. Every one of them says the same kind of shit on there. And it doesn't have a blade. This thing, the problem that I had with it, and I actually had one that was, I could adjust it, and the wire was flexible, so I could, you know, I could take the wire and make crap. I don't have a pipe cleaner, and I actually did this. I had one that was like a curve like this, and the wire, I turned it into, if you can visualize, it went up and it came out like this. So I actually like ran it through something and cut a trench into it of the same depth. So the one from Harbor Freight, I took a picture of it. It looks more durable. It's got pretty good reviews. And let's see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. And it has this guide that you can adjust how deep you want this blade to go into something. I'm like, that's pretty useful. So maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. So I'd rather get stuff like that than get a 3D printing thing. That's going to be a lot less frustrating than 3D printing shit. And by the way, I did look at that. I watched about 60% of that video, and I'm like, okay, it looks simple enough to use. I got to tinker with it, but I'm like, it's like watching an instructional video that you've never done before or even clicked on it. I'm like, I'm not following. You know, I am following, but it's like, it looks like it's pretty easy to use. You can get that foam with a utility knife without using heat and needing a respirator. You can cut that foam. Oh yeah, but I'm gonna get all the little flyaways everywhere. You know, my wife will kick me out of my house. I have that much stuff flying away everywhere. I don't know. I mean, that involves going to that particular store, going by work, grabbing a chunk. I don't know that I'm gonna do that today. You know, it's just something to think about. You know, it's. I say this all the time. You know, I'm not a bioholic. Sometimes the enjoyment. I did this all the time with 15 millimeter miniatures. I'll be like, hey, I want to build a DBA Mongol army. All right, what figures would I use? So I go and do the research and look at them. Like one stand would be these guys right here, and I'd get them from this place, and you know, and I'd put stuff in the shopping cart, find out how much it is, and then you know, and then figured out how I was going to paint them and everything, and then just like never clicked buy, and I still enjoyed buying it without spending money. I think since the internet has come out, or since the internet is really a buying thing, I actually buy less things than I used to. Because back in the day, and I've said this before, you'd be like a listing of some company, and you're like, man, I wonder what these figures look like. So then you order some, and then you don't want to pay a lot for shipping, so you order more than you want to, only to find out that the figures suck. Well, you don't do that with the internet anymore. As a general rule, there's pictures of them. So like, there's no like, let's get them and see what they look like thing. So I actually buy less things. So that's at least my reasoning on it. The reason against getting that is I don't feel like doing terrain right then and now, you know. And I've got this truck that's cool to do, and I want to do this the Panzer Kinderwagen or whatever the Kinderkampfwagen or whatever it is. Kinder Panzerwagen. Yeah, Kinder Panzerwagen or Kinder Kampfwagen. I think that's what I was going to call it. Next, and you know, it's hard to find the high density one. It's hard, and that's the good one. That's the good one. I don't like the one that's made out of the pellets. It makes a big mess when you cut it. A big mess. You don't want that stuff flying all over your neighborhood. You know, you don't want to be that guy. You know. Yeah, the guy that littered all over the neighborhood. This is actually working really well. You know, once you cut it down close to where it is, where it needs to be. But you know, I say it all the time. Don't go and spend money on shit. You know, certainly not. You know, if you want to get an airbrush or whatever, I'll let you know about the stuff that I've spent money on. What I think you shouldn't spend money on. What I've learned. And you know, does an airbrush that costs $400 work better than one cost $150? Probably, but you don't need to buy a $400. I thought I was going to have to buy a really detailed airbrush. I was going to do like really small squigglies, and then I went and watched a YouTube video of some folks that use the same airbrush I have, and they did things that are just incredible. And I'm like, all right, I just got to get better at the one I'm using. I don't need to go and buy a $500 airbrush, you know, probably ever, you know, and the airbrush will really last forever as long as, I'm not going to say you take care of it, but you know, you buy something that costs $150, you don't fucking throw it around, you know. You know, at least I'm careful with stuff. You know, if it's so, you bend a couple of needles and you'll figure out how it is. You know, you'll figure out how not to do that. Actually, ever since I've been using the condoms on the front and the back, I haven't fucked up a single needle. So, got to put your PPE on the airbrush and you'll be fine. All right, now we just got to grab some flyaways, and I think these will be done. Yeah, I'm never going to be that guy. It's like, oh, there's this new set of like mud that you need to get, and it costs $10. I'm not. I'm never going to be that guy, right? If there's a way you can save money, save it. There's some things I don't think you should save money on, right? But when you can save money on shit, you know, spending dough doesn't make you happy. You know, you need to use the things that you already have. I've been a poor student before. Well, nobody's gonna sponsor you then. You're not pushing their products. I'm sorry, I'm just telling it like it is. You know? I don't want to be a sellout. The way I look at it is, I've gotten a lot of ideas and stuff for free. So, I don't want to charge for that shit. I want to pass that on. Maybe you'll learn something and you'll be encouraged to pass it on as well. You know? Some people join the Peace Corps. I do. I give all my advice out for free. Now, what is this little snippet? There we go. And then we're going to mount this on here and just see that it looks. We're not going to be able to see the whole picture because it's not until you prime, get everything the same color, that you can really tell how good a job you've done. Okay. I don't think I'm going to need this again. Or at least let's shut it off until we need to turn it back on. All right. This is the only disappointing part about it. I actually had to cut through this to get this axle out. So I couldn't pull these two things apart. Man, I tried. Okay. Thank you. And they're going to be glued in place anyways. I think that's going to look pretty good. I might give it a coating of the stuff that I use for basing my figures on it, so that it looks all like it's caked with shit in there, But that takes a while to dry, so I'm not a huge fan of that. I think that'll put the brakes on finishing this build. All right, so we're going to prime that. We're going to prime this also. Big old lights. All right. My only fear with this is that the decals aren't going to, because it's all one sheet. Yay. That I'm not going to be, that I'm going to run into decal issues. And not because I don't know how to use decals, I just don't know how these will be. And I hope they're awesome, because I'll definitely give this guy more business. Although he doesn't have a ton of stuff that I'm interested in. He has a ton of stuff. He just doesn't have a ton of stuff I'm interested in. He's got like some Puerto Rican decals or whatever. I just need to think of a car that starts with a B. Well, first of all, we gotta see if his decals are worth a shit. So, so you can have what is it? Boricua Bonneville or something like that. So he's got these Puerto Rican decals that says Boricua on them. Or it might even be Nuyorican or something like that. Anyways, I wouldn't mind having a Puerto Rican driver. That'll work. or a driver that's really proud of being Puerto Rican. Let's put it that way. That fits into my everything, my nationalistic influence teams. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea when the new Gaslands is coming out, but I don't know that it's in. Of all the things that I'm waiting for them to show up with, that's not really high on my priority list. I'd rather come up with State of Decay 3. That's probably top thing. I'd rather come out with that or Grand Theft Auto 6. I prefer State of Decay 3 than Grand Theft Auto 6. And then there was one other thing. I can't remember what the hell it was. But a Gaslands, another Gaslands, another book to buy. I don't know. What if I don't like it? I mean, what if it's not better? I don't know. I'm not running this in a tournament, so if something doesn't make sense, I don't want to run it a certain way. I'm just not going to do it that way. Now, after playing a couple times, the very first thing I noticed that we needed to change when you're doing Death Race, whose turn it is next, because it was like, man, I wasn't drinking. I wasn't drinking, and we'd lose, we'd fuck it up all the time. Who got pole position. It's like, it was just too complicated. I didn't necessarily have a problem with how the author did it. It was just like too difficult to keep track of. You're making like dumb mistakes constantly. Like, oh, I thought that guy had it. No, I should have switched to this guy when you went past this thing. I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, I don't need to win the race, but I don't need to play like, an incompetent fool, doing mistakes like that. Yeah, I don't think anybody knows. There's some people that are like play testing it. If you can be the people that are on the Patreon can play test it. Look, I'm fine if people do Patreon stuff. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give people Patreon money. That's just not an expense that I just don't. I'm not going to give Patreon money to people. It's just another expense I don't need to spend on. There's lots of stuff out there that's free. I give all my stuff away for free. Well, you monetize your channel, yeah, but I'm not taking your money. It's taking Google's money. And I make like 9 cents on a video. I do the videos just because I don't want to die and not share all this shit with me. It's not like some kind of thrill. I never give away my secrets. Something. Look, I've gotten lots of shit. I've done lots of stuff for free and gotten advice and stuff, and might as well pass that on. I'm like that guy at Starbucks that fucks everything up, like paying for the next guy's thing. That's really annoying when you go through and it's like, hey, the guy in front of you paid for your freaking thing. Like, fuck, now I got to do the same thing to the guy in the back. But I plan on spending, $14. The guy's order in the back is $27. Like, that's not really, it just, makes things complicated. But, I'm not, as much as I'd like to see behind the scenes of 3D bot maker stuff, I'm not going to get into that. I don't need a monthly expense. Well, that guy's making a shitload of money on videos, and he should. I'm guessing he does with the number of views that he gets. And good for him. It's a lot of work, but I don't want to deal with tax implications, etc. I don't think I'm going to need to cover this with anything after this. This is definitely grubby enough looking. It actually looks really good. Just like I don't want to monetize my videos with like what is it where you break up the stream to go to a commercial? Yeah. No, I don't like that. That shit turns me off when I have to go to somebody else's video. I'd say half the time I leave and half the time I'm like, well, this is pretty good. I'll go ahead and stick around. But it breaks up the whole process. And maybe people that have AD&D, you have AD&D, you roll a critical on an AD&D. Need that kind of stuff. But yeah, I can tell you that one show that we used to watch a long time ago called Mythbusters, when it was on, we watched a couple seasons, and then after like season 3, and I may be wrong exactly where it was, they changed their format to where they were doing 3 experiments. Instead of them doing in sequence, they'd hop around and do little bits of all 3. So they'd start in the first 10 minutes of the show before the first commercial break. They told you what 3 experiments they were going to do and a little bit of each. And they did that every time till it wasn't until the end of the show that they finished all 3 of them within the last 10 seconds. And I didn't watch the show anymore. I'm like, I don't need that kind of crap. That's like bullshit I go through at work. Like not finishing anything. Like, no, I'm not doing that shit for free. Sorry. Okay, I'm not going to prime this. It's going to be black. I don't know that it's going to take paint worth of shit. I don't know if there's going to be that much paint that's going to even be on it. Let's go to the decals. And let's put this somewhere that I'm not going to knock it over. All right, let's find this. Do we still have the Twinkie truck up here? No. Yes. Okay. Let's get a new X-Acto knife. I'm not going to dispose of that one, though. It's not an X-Acto knife. It's a Ching Chang Chung. I was going to get X-Acto brand, but after my problem that I ran with razors, I'm not going to buy something like that on Amazon. And they're too expensive in the store, like a fucking $1 a piece. I'm like, no. Or even maybe more than $1 a piece for a blade. I'm like, no. Nope. No, that's not a good use of funds. Now, I bought name brand razors on Amazon, and I got them in, and it was like a 50% savings. And I got them, and they were the same packaging and everything. And then when you go and use the first one, it's like, it's not even sharp. I'm like, nope. There's some things you can't buy on Amazon. You know, it's gonna be a bait and switch. Okay. Now the first things first, we got a couple different Twinkie logos. So one of them's bigger than the other. I guess on this one it has the smaller one on the front of the vehicle. And remember, I'm not going to try to do the same thing. It's just some of these things that's what I can use from it. So this one, okay, I got to do one thing. I've got a little bit of black paint here, and it's out of the corner of my eye. We need to get rid of that. I'm having kind of a jump scare, like, what's this paint doing on me? Oh, it's nothing, it's dried already. All right, well, then we got to get rid of that shit. Okay, so the first thing to put on there, and I've already given this thing a clear coat of the brush on. I don't even remember who the hell makes it. The stuff that I used to put decals on. I didn't give it actually clear coat of paint. The floor varnish stuff. Okay, so we're going to use the big Twinkies or the small Twinkies? Well, the small Twinkies definitely looks like it works. I don't know if the big Twinkies fits in there. If it doesn't, then I have nowhere else to put it. So I'm going to cut it out anyways and just see how that goes. It doesn't fit next to it, so I need to cut those two apart. Looks like it's almost integral with this hostess. And unfortunately, it's all one sheet. Okay, let's cut this down as close as we can get it. All right, now let's see if this will fit in here. Yes. Yes, it will. Okay. And put that over here. Do the same thing with this one. Now, hopefully these decals hold. We'll see. They look, I mean, they look real professional. They look like they might be a little thick. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I hope they're awesome. I'm sure people that are a lot less anal retentive than I am can make them work. So we got everything going for us right now. We're in temperature controlled environment. I'm not in a hurry. I've done this before. Yo, Northern Michigan in the house. Northern Michigan in the house, pay your taxes. Taxes aren't too bad up there, are they? Okay, this little hostess sign. It's not small enough to fit in there without getting over part of the crimp. Now, I may put it there anyways. It's just going to distort the size of it. That's the only problem with it. Now, there are some smaller hostess ones, and those might actually work pretty well. Stuff still smells like that orange stuff. 55 degrees. Oh, suck it. Don't move here. You'll never be able to deal with the temperature. It's the weekend, though. I can deal with the temperature. Is the sun out? Barely. Feels like 73. Well, it's going to be in the hundreds probably today. Okay, so it actually does have the small hostess sign next to the Twinkie thing. All right, let's try putting that. Well, I gotta get to it. It's like kind of in a weird place. All right, let's cut this out. Let me cut these hostesses off. I'm sure I could find a place for them to go. Okay, I'm gonna put them over here because they're not sanctioned ones that we're using just yet. Let's take these two small hostesses off. Okay, and they're a pair. Taxes in the summer are $800. What are they in the winter? You only get taxed in the summer? Like, we'll pay. The winter's so bad, we'll pay you to stay there. Almost looks like a little Campbell's soup thing. Okay. And those should be able to fit next to that. Remember, this isn't a real Twinkie truck. It's just, I saw this, I'm like, yep, that's what it looks like. I mean, it's like a Twinkie color. And the Twinkie one's white. That's boring. We gotta do something better than that. Well, wherever I put that, it's not going to change anything else. Nothing else I put on here is going to change. Because that stuff's going to go where that stuff's going to go. And that's going to be right here and right here. So I'm going to move this off to the side. I want this to look like a legitimate Twinkie vehicle. Okay. And I'm not sure if I'm going to put the hostess behind it or the hostess in the front. My normal reaction would be probably to put it in the behind, because there's already a square corner and that's kind of square and that would fit nicely there, and you can put the Twinkies in front of it and they should be able to fit dimensionally okay. Like, we can put Twinkies here and we can put this little hostess logo thing like that, and the Twinkies like that. And the size of this is just barely inside the dimensions of that. So let me see if I can cut this down just a smidge. Now, I'm going to do something just as a tester. I'm going to find something I don't need. I don't know that's going to be easy. And then see how these decals behave. Now, these stripes are for this vehicle. They're not really any use to me. I mean, I could probably find a place to, but I don't want to go. There's just a lot of creases on this thing. There's a lot of creases on this thing. So, is there a decal I don't think I would use? Yeah, but they're going to be in the middle somewhere. Let's see if I can remove them and just see how they apply. I know I'm overthinking this, but I don't want to buy another one of these for the cost and waiting for them to come in. So let's cut out this. I don't need the vehicle dash. Dash isn't going to be visible. And this is large enough that and let's just see what these decals are made of. This particular brand of decals. They seem a little on the thick side, which I'm okay with. Let's cut down this other Hostess. Meanwhile, Hostess with the mostest. I'm not sure I've had a Twinkie. I've had stuff like I don't really like stuff that's just so filled with preservatives. Not that I'm a health nut. I'm just saying some things just taste really fake. I'm not a fan of fake tasting things. You know, probably the thing that's closest to a Twinkies I've had. I don't know that I've ever bought any myself. I know the closest thing to a Twinkie I've had, and it's not that close. Pop Tart. There's a guy that there was a guy at work many years ago that would have Pop Tarts for breakfast, and he wouldn't even like toast them. And somehow I thought that was like a real lazy way to have breakfast when I was in my 20s, and that's what I would have. I would have, I guess I don't know how many come in the sleeve. 2. I would just eat 2 of them on the way to work. That's as fake as a Twinkie, or maybe not really, but Twinkies are probably fakier. Those Little Debbie cake things, Little Debbie stuff. That's all, you know, like the things that you just, you know, you buy something. It's like, oh, this is like a bakery item. What's the expiration date? Oh, 4 years from now. Okay, well, this is full of like, you know, turpentine to keep it alive. Or I don't know. So I don't know that I've ever had a Twinkie. Sponge cake, like, I'm not interested in sponge cake. That's pretty lame tasting. All right, how are we doing on that decal? It looks like it's separated. Okay, so let's see what this guy's decals are made of. I know I got too much water in here, but I want to use this for other things afterwards. I don't want to get up a second time. Okay. They look pretty good. They look pretty. They look pretty durable. I have no use for this thing, so we're just going to put him here. Okay, that's puts my mind at ease a little bit. All right, let's get some microset out here. This is the one that smells like vinegar. Okay. How did you get over here? I see you're trying to misbehave. All right, let's pour some of this water out. And let's look at actual pictures of a Twinkie truck. Let's see if there is a consistency where the Hostess logo is. Yeah, I could have just bought one of these. But they wanted a shitload of money for them. They wanted like $26. So I was like searching and the decal set came up. It's like a condensed little... Okay, here it's in front of the Twinkies logo. Ah, shit. The Twinkie is the iconic weathered brown 1970s Volkswagen camper van driven by John B. and the Pogues in the Netflix series The Outer Banks. Never heard of it or seen it. It serves as their main mode of transport, surf hunting vehicle, and mobile base for treasure-seeking missions. Never heard of that. What the hell is a Pogue Life? Okay, so M2 diecast makes that one. Okay, here's a larger one. Yeah, I want a real vehicle. Like, there's got to be a... Okay, I think I'm going to go with what I think is right, which is to put that little hostess thing down here and back here in the corner. I saw a toilet truck. I thought you would make a good vehicle. I have two of them, just so you know. So, yeah. And that's actually something that I might actually go the Hoffman route. Because the little toilet truck's very small. It could be like a support vehicle for the big one. But the big one's actually a rig. So, I don't know what the rig is, but maybe the toilet truck is probably going to be buggy sized. You know. You know, since I've got a 13-point category. It'd be a buggy, that's 6. With a glue dropper or something. I mean, that's what it needs to be. Oh, I'm doing this in the wrong fucking order. Not a big deal. It's just not... I'm just not being as efficient as I could be. Let's drop that in. We're going to do one side, then flip to the other one. And let's drop one... Let's confirm that this fits in here. Yes. Drop one of those in. Let's flip this upside down. This is going to be this could be an issue. Here we go. Flip the right side up. Yeah. Let's see. 6 points. Glue dropper is 2. It uses a build slot, but it's like cheap. And then like a machine gun or something on it. Gas grenades, right? Give them gas grenades. I can't make it a truck. It's too small. You can't get a third guy in there unless he's in the toilet. What was that name of that guy on Jackass that was like slow? Not that I watched that show, but... Or maybe it was in the movie, I don't know. He got thrown into he did a bungee thing with a porta potty, and the porta potty was like loaded with you know, Steve O. That's what that fucker's name is. You know, I don't like stuff like that. Like, okay, I get it. You're a money whore. You'll do anything for attention. How do you take dumpster diving to another level? I don't know. We can do a bungee jump in a freaking porta potty. It's probably not even his waist either. Not that that makes it... It does make it better. It does. Than just some random person's waste. It makes it slightly better. Yeah, it's like the difference, like, when you have a kid, for those of you that have kids, which may not be any of you watching right now, and your kid throws up on you, it's your kid. It's all right. But if it's a random kid, no, not cool. You know? It's the difference between that. Oh, this got stuck on here. Why did this stick on here so well? There's just a little bit of resistance here. And can we even use this? No, it's a little too much. We want to put it somewhere that I'm not going to fuck up the finish of it. No, that's not working. Yeah, it's got to be like a buggy or something like that. I actually named it. I forget what the hell it was called. And then I got another one that came with the truck because it actually had number 2 on it. Had number 2 written on the little toilet thing. So I have 2 of them. I've got a toilet truck that was by itself. I've got one that came with a set with the rig that has a bunch of porta potty things. All right, now we'll apply the microset. And we're going to put that hostess in the corner. Not all the way in the corner, but cornerish. See, where can I put this and I'm not going to knock it down? On the left side of me, where nothing happens. All right. So here's the bad news. And I don't know if this is going to bite me in the ass. They're transparent. And I'm not putting it on white. I think it'll be okay, but that's something to think about. They're certainly not too thin. I've worked with decals that are a pain in the ass, and these aren't them. These are pretty not misbehaviors. Actually, they're thick, and I actually welcome them being thick at this point. All right, now we can maneuver things. Have you seen the vehicle that has the toilet bowl in the back? Yeah, it's the one I have. I'll get it in a second. Let me put these down. I'll show you which one I have. It's even been weathered. I didn't know what to do with it, and then that was before I was doing the whole buggy category, the small, the 13-point category, and then it's like, okay, we can make a whole team of that. I think I'm happy with that. I don't want them crowding each other. always thought like, hey, I could do some white parts, and I'm like, I'm not there. I'm not there yet. It doesn't need to be that. It doesn't need to be that fucking fancy. All right, it's a Gaslands vehicle. Get the toilet cart. I'm pretty sure it's in here. Let's see. Here it is. And where's the black part? That's the toilet. Yep. But it's in pieces. Oh, that's not the toilet car. Just something that looks like the... Here it is. It's this one. And... when you start breaking these things up in a bunch of pieces, it's really handy that the undercarriage says what vehicle it goes with. Like, it's kind of easy to figure out what this goes with. And, you know, like, this is orange. Like, there's only so many things. But it's nice that you can say, okay, this is the one for such and such a one, so you can track them down. Because, no, I don't have enough compartments to put all the pieces parts together. This says, gotta go, and has a toilet thing on it. And I do have the inside to it. Let's see if we can piece this guy together. This guy, well, there's another part in here, but it's this one. I have this one, and I also have the one that comes with the truck. And I'm pretty sure it's still together. I think it's here. I don't know what it is, but it comes with a... I'll find it online. Let's see here. Hot Wheels, set, toilet, truck, and rig. This. I have this. The rig's actually pretty. It has a really good shape to it. Let's see if we zoom this in. So, if you make these 13 points, if you make one 13, you make one 14. That's 27. So they could be toilet buddies. And then the rig, that can be whatever the rig number is going to be. But it has, it has these porta potties on it. I think that's the color mine is. And yeah, it has number 2 on this one. So maybe one dumps oil or one dumps glue, something like that. But there'll be little support vehicles, kind of like what you're doing with your team. I think that'll work really well. So you don't have to get it. I didn't. I showed you the picture. I don't mind going on these little side things because, it keeps you guys getting engaged, and, I don't have a time frame when I have to get this done. So I don't mind that. I don't mind doing that stuff at all. This is the face worth slapping that Ben was talking about. This is the Volkswagen van that has a face that needs slapping. That's what this is going to be called. Whatever the hell that thing's called. I took a screenshot of it. This Volkswagen minibus, modern minibus. Waffen Scheiße, whatever it's called. Number 2. That's one of the reasons I got it, because it was a number 2. I mean, it won't be called number 2, but it's all about having fun for me, So that kind of humor and the double entendre stuff is important for me. Yeah, it's definitely modern looking. That's what that one's going to be called. A face that needs slapping. In German. took a screenshot of it. Back Pfeifen Geschicht. Backfight. It's probably not that way. Backpfeifen Geschicht. Yeah. Huge, long. Who does number 2 work for? I never watched that show, but I know what you're talking about. Shit, now I'm going to be thinking, what's the song that has that in it? There's a song that I listen to that has, oh, it's the Iron Maiden song, The Prisoner. That's how I know what it is. Yeah, there's a clip of it. Or what would the correct name for it would be? A sample. There's a sample of it in that song. Yeah, I never saw that show, but I have seen it's all I can think about that show is some guy in some chair that looks like it's egg shaped. I'm like, I'm already out already. Those things look freaking weird, weird ass egg shape. Oh, so you've seen that you've seen the I've said that there's several Hot Wheels that wouldn't work, like the 8-ball, the cat, the happy cat that's just waving. Not the one on the side of the truck, which I do have. That one will work. But no, it's like literally like a go-kart with a big happy cat. The Asian cat thing. The telephone, that kind of stuff. Well, there's one that's like a cracked head. You could actually call that one crackhead. I don't know how that would work, but... All right. Let's flip to the other side and try not to touch this. And then we'll put the hostess things here in the corner. It just makes sense to put the square thing. These are pretty thick decals. We've got the microsol to soften them. It's not a big deal. They're less thick probably than some of the writing on some of these vehicles that I've left on them and worked around them, so I'm sure it's fine. And decals you shouldn't judge until you've already given them the flat clear coat at the end. Because sometimes man, this isn't going to turn out. It looks like it's silvering. I've done everything right, but yet it still silvers. And then you give it that flat coat and it's like, can't even tell that it's a decal. What's up, Marcus? Hey, we're doing decals. Of course, it's for a Twinkie van. The Big Twink. That's what it's called. With decals I picked up from eBay, and they seem to be really good. I would prefer them being too thick than just being too flimsy and breaking apart on you. They seem to be pretty durable. You learn that Skyline that has a Godzilla on it was nicknamed Godzilla. It's also It's also in re-release right now, but what I've read, it's really hard to find. It is. Yeah, it was called the Godzilla because it won all the races. It was basically a power. Won a bunch of off. Yeah, so that's the double thing, and it looks really. Is it the R32 or the 33? I don't know. I'm a big fan of Skylines. I mean, it's Japanese. It's all-wheel drive. It's stick shift. It's a coupe. Win, 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 win. I mean, that's all the things that I like. And that Godzilla, the funny thing is it's slower to 60 miles an hour than my car. But the Godzilla looks fast. My car looks like a fucking Corolla. Kinda, you know. Hey, you look at cars from like 1992, I'm like, man, it's a badass car. It's like, what's it go 0 to 60? I'm like, oh, that's not that impressive, you know? Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually watched a video on the Skyline stuff, and a lot of them kind of look like shit. A lot of the Skylines look like shit until you get to like that car. And I don't really like the GTRs. I don't really like the way the GTRs look. The R35s, I'm not really a fan of them. And they're automatic only. Like, why the hell would you want that kind of a car automatic? Yeah, just like the Supras. The Supras from the 90s, that's a good looking car. The Supras, the new Supras now, like the first iteration has a BMW engine. I'm like, that's not a Japanese car. Sorry, Japanese cars don't have German engines in them. That's like, no. When we were looking at our last Camrys, the guy's like, "Hey, maybe you should get a Supra." I said, "It's automatic. Why would I get that? Besides, the roof looks like an ass cheeks. It's got like a. It's too much money, anyways. Not spending that kind of money on a vehicle. Stupid, stupid, stupid." This decal has a boo boo on it. It's got part of it missing. We'll make it work. Yo, what's his name's about ready to fire up his thing again. He's done with his lawn business. I just saw that he posted recently. What's his name? Iron Horse Collectibles. I got so much of his stuff to do anyways. I don't think I'll be buying anything from him anytime soon. Not that his stuff isn't awesome, because it is. It's just like, I got a lot of stuff to do. And honestly, I like this stuff better than World War II. Why? You don't like World War? No, I can have fun with it and coming up with names and the bills and all that kind of stuff. It's got nothing to do with it, Like the World War II stuff's already done for you. Like there's a different level to this. If I'm like into tanks, I'm not going to be able to go. I'm not going to be able to go to Target and find something worth a damn there to peruse through. Chad, yeah. Got to get you summer order in. Yeah, I got so much stuff of his to do. I mean, not so much stuff, but probably 8 or 10 things. I didn't complete a single A13. Yeah, I got 4 A13s to do just alone. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, he just posted something on Facebook. I want to say yesterday or the day before that he was getting ready to fire it back up. I don't know what. I don't know. It must be like an industrial lawn. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but I'm like, you can't print throughout the year. I'd be like, I can't do the lawn service. Sorry. And I'm not sure if he's semi-retired. I have a feeling he's probably semi-retired at some point. Okay, we've got Twinkies on this one. All right, now we got to get a little creative. So the decals, I don't know how they're going to disappear. They're a little on the thick side. They're not like Petting House thick, which suck. At this point, I would actually, if somebody said, would you prefer them to be thicker or thinner? I'd probably say thicker. I don't want them to, like, disappear and shit like that. We can deal with that. We got a couple of hostess signs here. Where on here can we put them? We've got this the rodeo Twinkie guy. I'd like to get him on here, but the only way to do that is going to be to put part of his rope over this on the side, and I don't think that's going to fare well. I don't think that's going to fare well at all. I wish that rodeo guy was smaller. There's no point in putting him on the roof. Nobody will be able to see it. Doesn't seem logical. Yeah, his hat and stuff will go over it. It's going to look like a melted asshole. I don't want to do that. You got any interest in ever getting into 3D printing, Marcus? The problem with 3D, one of the problems I hadn't really considered about 3D printing is, let's say you find, if you're doing make-believe vehicles like this, it's probably not that big of a deal, but let's say you want to print like a Czech 38, right? So you're like, I'm going to get, that's probably a bad example because Ron makes one, okay? Something Ron doesn't make. Say, what's that tank that never went really into production for the Soviets? An A-20. Something that somebody doesn't make, right? And somebody makes like the file for it, an STL for it. So you go and you buy it, and then you print it out, and you're like, oh man, this is great. And then some dickhead decides to go make another one that's so much better. And you're like, shit. I spent all my time printing all these. Now what? It's like you could just find yourself in a hole of like disappointment. Or like, you got a 3D printer that prints, this big, right? I think they have them like they're almost like cylinders or something like that. And you want to print a building, but the building when it's built is like this big, right? So you got to like somehow subdivide it. So when you're when you're printing the panels, they fit inside your. It's like a whole level of shit to worry about that I don't need to worry about. I'm just fuck it. I'll just pay the money, and I won't buy it until, it's not that. It's really not like I don't want to order from the 3D printing people because I don't want to give them any money. It's more like I don't want to pay the shipping on it, because when you worry about paying the shipping, you have to over order. You have to order more things than you really need at that time to make it worthwhile. It's not like the guy that's actually making the 3D printing is making money on you on the shipping. The shipping costs like a fortune, and then you have to wait to get it, Not until you move would likely start with terrain. I love watching Painting Panzer's videos on the new 3D printing machine. Yeah, I'm not going to look into that. Yeah, there's parts of it that the biggest reason for me not to get into it is it's going to take time out of me doing this. If I'm printing stuff, I can't even get the cards made for these things. I don't need to put more overhead on myself, time overhead. So I'm like, I'm fine. I don't need that much stuff, and if you need it, you just go and friggin' order it. It took me, what's it been, 4 years now to get pretty good with the airbrush. I'm not looking for more challenges. I got enough challenges with shit at work. So, all right, we got this hostess logo. Can we work this hostess logo into anything? And we don't have to use everything, I could put it across the back and then just split the decal, although I'm not a fan of that. I really want to get this Twinkie guy on here, but I don't think that there's going to be a way to really do that. Let's go ahead and clip this back on so we don't accidentally touch the decal and create more work for myself. These things are awesome. I don't know how I got this one, but these things that clamp and hold in place, they're freaking great. Yeah, like, okay, I could put a Twinkies that goes across the hood and it would be all misshapen. It would look worse than not having one on there. Are you looking forward to moving? Well, we have this caution, please watch for children. That could fit on the door. I have another hostess logo, but I only have one of them. I'd put that here in the center, but it's not, but it's not, it's not smooth. This hostess thing fits fine on the door. Here's some smaller hostess one. Those definitely we could fit somewhere. I think that's the next thing we need to put on is the little hostess. Little hostess. And I thought about getting a bigger van, but I think this looks the right size for the vehicle point that value that this thing has. And the inside of the wheels looks pretty good. We had to fill these with hot glue gun. Definitely 2028. Let's fit this in here. Hey! I had a dream that I moved to Spain last night. I could think of a lot worse places to live. I just don't want to work there. I could totally live there. I just don't want to work there. I don't know what the, I don't know what that's all about. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Let me take have you guys take let me take a screenshot of this and you can see what I'm talking about. Because it was totally hollow. You have dreams that you ask random people in your past if they play Gaslands. Oh, you're fucking hooked now. I'm actually getting really tired of my dreams. And it's not because I have them all the time, because I have the same ones, or that they're bad. I'm just exhausted from them. Like, every night I have really complicated shit. And it's just like, oh man, I just want to get some fucking rest. You know? I think this, and the inside was completely hollow. In other words, whatever the depth of this is, call it, I need to get one of the millimeter measurers. Who makes those? You know what I'm talking about? The little clips that you get where you can like measure micrometers or whatever. I need to get one of those. One made of metal. So whatever this is, call it half an inch. All of it to the very tip was completely hollow, and there was some strengthening things, and it wouldn't work. It looks like a toy, and we don't want this to look like a toy. We want this to look like a real vehicle, just shrunk, So let's put some of these pieces together just to kind of see what we're. I always like to double check myself. This is a journey, and when we don't need to be in a hurry to get it done. This is going to be something like this. Okay. And the RAM. Yeah, my new chat is Creepy Hero Studios, man. There's just some 3D printer people out there that that just do really good work. And Creepy Hero's stuff, his material is very similar to Chad's. Oh, this one actually cracked. Doesn't matter. Probably got it too new. It's actually misshapen a little bit. Good thing we're doing Gaslands. It smells like Chad's stuff. So maybe he uses the same compound. Okay. This is going to go something like this if I do it in this direction. It's going to block his view, but you know, he's a lunatic anyways. If I flip this, now I have a little ledge here. I can attach this. Might actually be better on this side. I think it is better on this side. Let's take a look at this. I love this stick-on stuff, man. It just allows you to like... And I may do the roof in white. Just to add some variety. Well, it's still blocking his damn view. Ha! I can make an impression of it. Is there one that's better than the other? And this is airbrush with craft paint. I can't believe how good that turned out. Well, that's Mr. Abbas. Man, that's Mr. Abbas's magic formula. I got to make sure I get the tread pattern going in the right direction, okay? That'd be really frustrating to have the tread pattern back afterwards, or one way and the other one the other way, like here, right? This is like V here, but like this on the back. I'm like, no, they both need to be, and I have a feeling they need to be forward like this one. I think this needs to be in this direction, how I had it originally. Yeah. Okay. Random people in the past. FDR. Do you play Gaslands? I'm tired. I don't remember right now what the dream, but it's just like you get confused, especially if they're like work dreams. You're like, was there a problem with that thing that I was doing, or is that just it's just a dream? You're like, man. And then you got dreams you think that are recurring. Like I think I have this dream. It's happened before, where I'm like in a car. I don't know what car in particular, and I go to hit the brakes, and the brakes won't work. You know, so I gotta like pump the brakes. So I like wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, and I'm looking on. I remember this happened like a couple weeks ago. I'm looking on my phone. All right, what do you have to do if that happens in your car? Because I was like, no, that's never fucking happened to me. Like brakes either work or they don't fucking work, right? And fortunately, I haven't had a situation where brakes don't work. You know, because I do regular maintenance on my vehicle, because vehicles are too expensive to not do regular maintenance on them. And in my case, they don't really make anything out there that I really care for. We're running out of Japanese vehicles that are stick shifts, that are the affordable-ish. Like there's not very many anymore. So like you got to hold on to what we have. I'm holding on for dear life. Okay, let's cut out the hostess. You guys having fun? I'm having fun. Running my mouth off as usual. All right, these two little hostess are the ones that we're going to put them. We're going to try to not put them on the door, okay? Because there's things that we can put on the door that don't fit anywhere else. We're going to try to put them in this little slot right here. So let's cut them out and see if they fit in there. If not, maybe they fit up here. So what I want to know Hoffman, are you more into Gaslands or were you more into DBA? Are you into more Gaslands now than you were into DBA? Because I'm kind of equal, you know. Two different animals, same disease. And we're gonna do the Kinder. What do we call it? Kinder Kampfwagen. Kinder Kampfwagen next, which is going to be the front of this vehicle, which is a Mercedes, and it's going to have the Mercedes logo. So I don't know if I'm going to use this whole body, but I'm definitely going to use this grille because it's got a little Mercedes logo on it. So we're going to have that on there, and then we're going to have this school bus cut probably at the door, and then flip it so that we got to get rid of those tires, which are definitely usable. So it'll be like this, except the back will be this. So which means it'll go back to about here, and then we're gonna put it probably on the undercarriage of the one it came with, but we have to modify it so it fits, and we're gonna put these tracks back here. And I'm gonna put Schertzen on it at some point or another, so that'll get a throwback to, but it's not going to be some Nazi vehicle. There's not going to be, Balkenkreuzes on it or anything like that. It might be Panzer Gray. It may be. It may be Panzer Gray, but that's about it. I might put some German decal numbers on it like that, but there's, but my Germans, it's going to be for the German team. My Germans are, Germans are not necessarily, ex-Nazis or anything like that. I would say DBA are about equal in a few months if I keep 3D modeling stuff because wrote a lot of stuff for 3 Kingdoms for DBA. I also made the Jenga Tower rules. That's right. Oh, I forgot about that. Did we try playing that? Here's what happened with the Jenga Tower. I ordered one on Amazon, and we just never played a game with it. And the reason we never played a game with it is I never even tried it. Was the Mitch's table's flimsy as fuck and it just wouldn't work. So I ended up getting the Jenga thing and returned it. That's right. And I forgot what the Jenga rules were. What we got to figure out is how do we do Gaslands with Blind General? How do we do Blind General with Gaslands? Maybe there's not a way to do it, or some blind generalness to it. Or maybe I'm just being stupid and there's no reason to mix those two things. But, yeah, the Jenga Tower was the morale, right? Yeah. Oh, the Jenga Tower could be really interesting. And you could have like one army better than another army, so the army that's better gets a bigger Jenga Tower. It might only be two block difference, but you got to play like on my island or something like that. You got to play something that doesn't move. Mitch's flimsy ass table wouldn't do. I think that's what it was. It just never took off. So I ordered it and I ended up returning it. When was that? Let's see. I bet I could go on my Amazon and go orders, search all orders. I'm going to put Jenga. See, return complete. Your refund has been sent back. There it is. When did that happen? Oh, I placed it on July 6, 2022. And remember, I stopped playing DBA about uh, after Huracan 2022. So I only played DBA another 2 months or so. You need to look at those Martian rules for Gaslands. They have a blind general type thing where you have to choose 6 moves that advance. Martian, where do I find them? Interesting. I like weird shit like that. As long as both people have to abide by the same rules. Martian rules. Well, I keep seeing people post on the Gaslands group all these builds based on the teams that are in the game, and nothing against the author because I think he made a great game, but his narrative just isn't interest me at all. You'll send it, okay, cool. You have that link to the that I sent you about the total recall or whatever the hell it's called that has the alternative rules for Gaslands where I got the compact cars. The 6 moves in advance sound really fun. Yeah, it's yeah, don't get epoxy on your glass. That was a while ago. Yeah, that's why I don't have expensive glasses. Well, I mean they are, but the frame isn't. The people that buy these designers glasses that the frames cost $300 fucking. I'm like, the glasses, man. You look like a fucking dork when you have them on, anyways. Why spend a lot of money on them? Be frugal where you can be frugal, right, Marcus? And talk about that all the time. I say, you don't buy it. Don't throw money at something. It's just you do that, you're gonna run out. I know people that like freaking buy everything. Well, I know people that buy every single thing they think of, and it's just like that's like a bad habit, man. You lose a good paying job, you're fucked. See, this hostess will fit there. It's not gonna fit there. So if I have to put the hostess, I need to put it here, and I think I need to put it on the door. I think I need to put it at the door. Yeah, it just has a weird freaking name. It has a weird name. If they should have just called it Gaslands Total Realism, then we would remember, right? Then we would remember that it was called that. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. I don't know. I got a lot of sticky notes. Gaslands Comprehensive Overhaul. That's what it's called. Gaslands Comprehensive Overhaul. Yeah, so I was talking about it earlier, Marcus. I'm like, I'm thinking about getting a foam cutter, but I'm like, as I had one and I used it a little bit. I actually got it because I have a terrain board. It probably doesn't look very good by today's standards, but I have a terrain board that I made for one of the battles in Heroes of Omaha. I literally made that board on two 2 by 2 foot sections. So the board is 2 feet by 4, so it's really condensed. It's called the Battle for Hill 30 or something like that. And the board has a trench in it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to cut a trench. So I had this hot wire foam cutter thing that had the half moon thing that you could adjust, and it had a wire that was flexible between the two. So, it's normally flat. So I ended up, closing it up and made like a U, and I ran that across it and cut a trench through it. So it was like literally 3-dimensional. It was like the right height for like the troops. And I I mean, I built it in 2004. Used it in a game at a convention. Ran out of time. Had everybody that was a new player. I mean, it was a disaster because I bit off too big a bite, and I haven't used it since. And it's exactly the same board. And I've got the little orchard trees that were so I had that exact scenario set up, and it's like a squad and a half of Americans defending against like 3 squads of Germans with. I don't think there's any vehicles. There's like a mortar team and stuff like that. And it's a pretty small introductory scenario, and that's why I chose it. And I have all the guys for it and ran it. It was just too big a bite, you know. Yeah, it doesn't take up a lot of space, but I put it in a plastic like a garbage bag. It's like I think it's in one garbage bag, and it's been in the attic at the other house ever since, and now it's up on a shelf, and it just has brown paint on it, and the sprinkles from that I use for like the trees and stuff like that. But the trees were on bases, so they were on these MDF bases that were cut so they fit the profile of that. And I'm like, I've gotten rid of those. I'm not doing trees that way. You know, we're doing trees away. The couple of demos that I've done with the, you know, with the magnets on the bottom of them, that looks fucking great. Actually, I don't know that I've ever seen trees that I like better than the ones I made. You know, because you have the flexibility of removing the trees, and you still have the outline of where the tree cover is and where the tree cover isn't. So, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. I'm just not in that mode right now, you know. So, and I got that second edition Face of Battle, and I don't know that I'm going to play it. It simplifies things that I didn't think need simplified. Maybe the morale rules are better. The morale rules and all that, like, okay, you know, and the game isn't hard. I mean, the game makes sense, and it's the opposite of like what I would say DBA or Gaslands is. Like, it's laid out correctly, but there's a lot of stuff that's confusing. Like, all right, if we're pinned and we're shaken after you're pinned, is that an effect, or do 2 shakens make a pin, or what happens if you're, you know, those kind of like levels of and it wasn't too bad. I mean, I winged it. The games that I played, the first one, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, other than I'd played it 20 years before, and I think it went okay, you know. Still like your Pacific Island tree terrain work? I've been watching those for your current hobby. Yeah. Well, I've used them at least for Gaslands a couple times, so it wasn't completely wasted. That takes up a lot of space. It takes up a lot of space, those trees, because I got to have them in plastic bins so they don't fall apart, and it just takes up a lot of space. You don't have time for that in New York. You don't have space for that in New York, for sure, or in an apartment. You know, and I don't want to put it in the garage, because the garage, even with my garage, it's kind of temperature controlled, because the guy actually he insulated it, and it being a new house and everything, it still fluctuates too much in there. So much so that I don't know if I'd want to do, if I did 3D printing, I don't know that I want to do it in the garage. It just gets too hot. It's not too bad, but it's still getting into the 90s. You know, it'd also be really, you know, but, so they just take up space. I don't want to put that stuff that you spend hours working on in a place where it's going to, you know, you're going to have to redo it or fix it. All right, so if we put the hostess there, what can we put underneath that hostess and still use the space? Well, we could put the caution, please watch for children. That works. Can we put any of these Twinkie dudes? These Twinkie characters. I don't think I fucking can. That's a shame. I could put these hostess signs on the back. Oh, I could put these products. I could put these Twinkie products on there. The hostess thing, we can't put it there because it has a notch. Oh, and the notch is tighter than. So let's put it just below that notch there. Okay. And we're just winging it, you know? We're just winging it. Yeah, but if I make those buttes, where the fuck am I going to put them? They got to be in the garage. You know? And I'm just talking about, you know, making something that's about like this tall, right? Maybe this big around and like this tall, and maybe having, I don't know, 8 of them. It takes up a lot of space. So I don't think I'm going to get the foam cutter this weekend. I got it. I got this I want to finish. I got the little Panzer thing to work on. It's going to have the 222 turret on it. The 232 turret on it. I got an extra 232 turret, so we're going to put it up here in the center somewhere. Oh, this number 1 is engraved in there. That's, man, it's fucking thick. I don't know. I tell you what, this became a lot more fun once I found out how to freaking release these, cut through these cars in a moment. I went from this taking 10 years of my life to like, it's almost too quick. I need to do a video on that. So people can post and argue, that's not how do I do it. Okay, you make your own video. I'm just trying to help people. I figured, hey, this is a way to, something I found really frustrating to help people out, you know? He'll be back in a few minutes. The coffee kicked in. They say it does that, but for me, it's just something else that makes me pee. Like the people in Britain say all the time that the curry food makes them like go to the bathroom. I'm like, I eat a lot of curry stuff, but it never has that effect on me, fortunately. I'll always be like, man, you want to eat something yummy? I said, nah, it makes me shit my pants. All right, let's get... I do need to figure out that if I have an Indian team, Indian influencers, what kind of vehicles they drive that aren't tuk-tuks. I don't have a tuk-tuk right now. Oh, it's a horrible sound. God bless it. I can't see what's going on. Yeah, I can't lean over this or I'll fuck up my neck. I don't know if that happens to everybody. I don't have a history of having neck issues, but ever since I was involved in a fender bender around 1991, I feel like I can get something out of place in my neck real easily. Maybe it happens to everybody, but let's put this back. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to put the little clamp back on. And it wasn't a big deal, but I did hit the windshield. I was wearing a seatbelt. And it was at a really low speed. It was like 10 miles an hour. It might have even been 7, something like that. I think that's where it needs to be. I'm going to do the same on this side. You got to crank up the breakfast a few minutes. Good to catch you on a live session. Hoping to be more this summer. All right, man. Yeah, man, I missed you. Thanks for coming by. I try to be on here every chance I get. This is my therapy. Keeps me from being an alcoholic. I'm not even close to being an alcoholic. You got to drink to be an alcoholic. But this is my work therapy. So I've been trying to do this hobby stuff before I eat dinner every night. So some people have, I need a drink after work. I need to paint after work. Okay, just sitting right under that notch, just like it is on this side. Yep. Okay, I don't want to put too much shit on it, right? So we have this Twinkie packages. I don't really care for the Twinkies that are just by themselves, but I like these ones that are just like the little package. God, they almost fit right there. One of them would. Are there two that are the same? No. They're all different from each other. Okay, well that's all right. Let's try putting one on one side and one on the other. And it's the vertical that's the problem. It's the up and down being too dimension being the one that is what's going to keep this from fitting in there. Let's cut that real tight on there. Let me check one thing. I think that fits in there good. And I think another one might fit right here. I think it will. So we can put them, are they even with each other? Yeah. That's excellent. Or maybe I should put, let me cut out 4. Let me cut 4 out. That's what that kind of has like a brown background. We'll do these two because they're right next to each other. Okay, so that's a dark colored background and a white colored background on one side. That's a dark, and do we have another dark colored background? We have a Shrek one. Shrek Twinkies. We'll use that one. Flavored with real donkey. Like I said, there's probably some people that have used these decals that are a lot worse at doing decals than I am. I'm not saying I'm the world's expert on it, but I'm patient. You know? Let's see what you sent me. What truck are you doing? And you know I'm going to ask you, you have a name for it yet? Why does he always ask me that? Sorry. It's like a huge part of the fun. I got to use my advertising degree for something. I don't have one of those. Okay, that's two with the colored backgrounds and 2 with the white backgrounds. All right, what do we have here? That was the one that it's these 2 together we're going to use. All right, so we have a you could spend a lifetime on that Colts 3D just looking for stuff. I mean, it's worse than eBay, you know? Oh, the BFG truck. That's a cool truck, man. That's a cool truck. Did you figure out what you're going to use for that ram on the back? I think like a front end loader scoop would be perfect for that. Oh, I never got to talk to you. Did you go to that show that you were going to go last weekend? And did it go well? It probably didn't, or you would have said that you had a really good time there. I just can't believe how many hobby stores you have access to. There's a shitload of them in St. Pete too. I mean, shitload meaning, there was like at least 3. So we have none. So Yeah, the only bad thing about that BFG truck is if you're gonna race and you don't get to fire it. Although I've been thinking the next time I play a death race, it's gonna be when you go into the next gear phase is when the weapons become active. So in other words, everybody does all their ones. Anybody that's gone into second gear, they go into second gear. Anybody in third goes into third. Anybody in fourth goes into fourth. Anybody in fifth goes into fifth. And then when you reset, that's when the weapons become active for everyone. I think that's better than going through the first gate. Okay, awesome. I think it would. I think it'll work well, and I think it's appropriate. It's we'll call it a kickstand. I'm sure it has another real another better terminology for it. But the kickstand for that thing, so when it fires, you don't go back in the next week. Although in this case, you do want to go in a bit next week, but you just won't have it deployed. You know, the hobby flea market was a lot of fun. I'm not playing, or would never play like 40K. They're also doing renovations along with some movie day thing. It was a little annoying to me. Oh, renovations at the hobby store. Well, the place I went to last weekend that I could probably spend 6 hours at digging through the stuff they have. There's a lot of like train layout stuff, which is fine because I do plan on getting buildings. I actually looked to see if there was a church, and I think I'm going to get. I think if I do a 1/72 scale church, I'll find it. Maybe I won't find it. Not something as nice as this Outland models. Just some piece of it's this piece of shit that's made in China. MDF buildings. 1/72 scale. Not that one. Something that looks like some Baptist type church. Yao Studio 1/72 miniature factory building. Okay, this thing's cute as hell. $8 shipping would turn me off. That is cute as hell. You didn't make the rear ram that big just in case you end up changing it. Yeah, some things you don't know what they're going to look like. Okay, these people, this isn't they have different designs. I think when you click on here, you can see the different designs. Okay, that's the little Russian house. These folks make like a church. It needs to be like a wooden looking church. Man, they got a lot of new things in here. I better watch out what I look at. And I got really good self-control. I need to find it. Anyways, these folks that make these MDF buildings, they make a real simple type church. It's about $7 or something like that. And I'll have to find it again. Because one of the teams I want them to be some kind of religious zealots. And no, it's not Christianity or anything like that we're used to. They worship, the motor god. right? They worship, engines. So that's why I got that, the Jeremy Clarkson thing, protect us from electric motors, or, that little stained glass thing that I found. Could be like those guys in is it Borderlands that worship fire or whatever, and they're just like a bunch of punks. I saw someone do a Pope mobile. I'll say it to you, it's really good. We can we can make fun of the Pope all day long. Okay, let's drop these two in here. Yeah, one guy was like, I posted something of it on the Gaslands group. Is I forget which one. Said, oh, that'd be really cool, but I'm really looking for is like a battle hearse. And I'm like, I already made one. And I showed him a picture of it. He's like, oh, is that for sale? Like, I'm not, I'm not selling anything. You know, the trouble of shipping something to somebody, it's like minimum $100. I'm like, I'm not selling anything for less than $100 fucking. You're not gonna pay $100 for it, and I'm not gonna go through the trouble of going to the post office. I have a post office story for you. What happened on the post office? Oh, the decals came crimped. The postal fucker that comes to the house, he puts our mail all the way in the back of the mailbox. And it can, if it's about water can still leak in from the back. It puts it all the way to the back. And then, you can't reach it from your car, whatever. So he puts it all the way in the back. And then he had actually crimped this decal sheet. Like it's literally, it says decals and it's got a crimp in it. Luckily it didn't damage it, but I look at it and I'm like, yep, it's Hoffman's guys out to get me too. Oh, I know what it was. I went to go check mail yesterday, and the mail didn't run yesterday. Because yesterday's a day that they just added another national holiday for mail people to not, you know. I'm sure the mail works. Just the mail carriers don't work yesterday. That's all right. I hope they're working today. Enjoy your Saturday, bitches, working. All right. Let's do the Shrek one on this side. It might work better if it was on a white backing. But I think it'll be fine. I'm not going to go back. Oh, stop what you're doing. Repaint that white. I'm like, I like it the color that it is. Like I said, I don't want to make it super complicated. That one bent over itself. I don't like sliding them on because I don't have any space to work with. think we have a small problem with these decals. I think I let them sit too long. All right, so we got one that died. All right, no big deal. It's my own fault for letting them sit in there too long. So let's get these fuckers out. That one's on me. There we go. Wasn't like I was dead set on having that one. Mailmen are well paid too. I don't get it. You know, if they go over 8 hours a day, that's overtime for them too. So I actually had something that happened mail-ish related. And let's see if I can talk about it without like... That's weird because this is on a white... Oh, is it still on the paper? That's maybe what it is. Well... I didn't know where the fuck I was going to put it. If it bothers me that much, it's fine. I would have painted that thing, that area white. I just didn't know where I was going to put what decals. Anyhow, so I had something that happened 2 days ago. Let's see how vague I can be without, getting worked up about it. So I got some stuff thrown on me that I don't really feel like I need to be doing, but I'm doing it anyways. Set up something for somebody to pick some freight up for, on like basically shipping something on a pallet. So I'm like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it on a day where our load is really, really light. So I picked specifically one day that it was kind of like a gap in things. And I specifically wanted to come in that day. We had the stuff packaged together. They brought it up. I'm like, no, it needs to have a tag, make sure it's the right thing, get it all ready. They're coming. I go to the back to go check something, and I come up, and in the 10 minutes that I was gone, the guy came in, the common carrier, like an Estes truck or something like that. They came in, and like, I got a pickup here to do, and I found this after the fact. The person they checked in didn't know anything about it. Even the entire loading crew did, and they had a ticket for it and everything. And he couldn't wait 30 seconds and left. It's like, oh, I have a contact as somebody else, and that person doesn't work in the company. Hasn't worked in the company for 3 years. And the guy was like basically like a mail carrier that was like in a fucking hurry and couldn't like wait for like 30 seconds for somebody to call on the radio and like fucking left. And he came on the day that we specifically wanted him to come, so that it is not an overburdening thing. So I called the guy that, I picked the freight carrier with, and I'm like, we're never using that company again. Because that guy's like on fucking crack, and like, we're the fucking customer, and you came in and like didn't pick up what you were supposed to. So like, fucking banned. We're not using you again. We're not using that particular carrier. Like, and it's just like, you need to chill the fuck out, man. One thing that bugs me is like, you got to deal with things for customers. I get it, all right? I don't have a problem with that. But you can't just like be a bitch for everybody who you're their customer also, right? You're not going to suck, I'm not going to suck all dicks, So it's like, you need to be treated like a customer by somebody too. You can't just be like, okay, well, we got to please everybody. No, there's some people that are lower on the pecking chain than we are. And, I'm not going to put up with shit that I don't do to our customers. And that's enough of that. Pissed me the fuck off. I literally all day. I'd been in the office all fucking day long. And like everybody knew about it except the person that they checked with. That's all right. That guy won't do it again. Where'd my little thing go? Hopefully those people will be out of a job and machines can take over their jobs. You know, like people that suck at their jobs should like, sorry, you're gone. That's what drives me crazy. The irony and coincidences and shit like that. Like, like maybe it's somebody's impossible to get a hold of. So you call them, leave a message. Well, let me pee before he calls back. That's when they call back. So you call them right back again. They're not there again. It's like you missed your window of opportunity. That kind of stuff is like, that's it. I'm turning into Hitler because of shit like that happening. It's not like it happens one time. Like that shit happens constantly. That's like literally my cancer. Is the irony and coincidences. Like, all right, I'm late for work. Let me pull out. And then when you pull out, the garbage truck's right in front of your fucking house and you can't get out. Like, really, what are the odds of that happening right this fucking second? Well, I don't know where it is. It'll probably turn up. We'll just pick a different one. Zippity doo dah. I didn't want to do that one anyways. Let's do the strawberry one. That was the remainder anyways. Well, it's not luck. That shit happens to everybody. But it's like, man, it should be a rare occurrence. Not something that happens multiple times a day. All right, let's put this guy in and not get too sidetracked and let it set in too long. Yeah, if I was going to have a decal fuck up, that'd be the one to have. The one that it happened on. That was the other thing that I'll never forget. My daughter, when she has her birthday in the middle of May, and it's almost always a rainy season, or it seems like that's when the rain starts, right? So I remember one of her birthdays, so it was fourth birthday. We'd spent part of it in Miami. We're gonna hit Orlando on the way back, and go to our first water park. She hadn't been to a water park yet, I think, or she had. No, I don't think she'd gone to a water park yet, and wanted to go to this new water park that had just opened. So like we timed everything to go to that damn water park, and it was like, and they shut the place down if there's like lightning, right? It makes sense. Like I don't want to be near water when there's lightning. So the previous day had been like thunderstormy, right? Lightning, whatever, and I called them to make sure they had been open because, we were going to go the next day, and there was just rain that was predicted, but no like lightning storms, right? So I call them and I said, no, we've been open all day, and we only shut down when there's lightning and stuff like that. So okay, cool. So the next morning it wakes up and there's like a light drizzle, and it's just like that, almost like a thick, like a cloud, right? Not even like a rain, and so we're like, okay, well, there's no lightning today. They'll be open. They never opened the fucking park, and I was beyond furious. I was like, it's like you get like a Stretch Armstrong, like human size, like that kind of stuff. Because it's just like you've been lied to. Like, oh, we only shut down if there's lightning. Well, there's no lightning today, so you fucking lied to me. They could have just said I don't know, No, they went and said, no, this is definitively how it is. Okay, well, I'm going to take your word for it. Oh, like, I don't need that kind of shit when I'm not working. Where am I putting the decals? I'm putting them, and I'll show you where these go. They're in these little notches that almost fit exactly where the size of the decal. Luckily, it's a relatively light colored vehicle. Otherwise, I didn't know they were clear. I would have had to paint this area white, and it probably would have looked better had I painted it white, but it is what it is. So, I did not want a white vehicle. I wanted it this lemon cream color. It looks pretty good. It could have looked it could have looked better. Let's see. I gotta put my glass on so I can see what I'm showing you. And then the same thing on the other side. There's like a little notch exactly like the same size that packaging. Sorry, it's blurry. I don't know how to unblurry that shit. That's why I just prefer to take a photo and just show you the phone with a photo on it. Now, what else can we put on here? I don't know that there's a whole lot that we can do. You know, we're going to have a turn signal here. We're obviously going to paint the lights in the grill and the lights on the back. I don't think I'm going to put the please watch for children underneath the hostess. It's going to start getting too cluttered, you know? I think I'm going to put the please watch for children on one door. And there's like a little stop sign. I'm not going to put it next to this because it's not really a stop sign. Maybe I will. You know, pretending it's one of those things that kicks out. Right? Watch for children or whatever. Yeah. No, this is the right color. I mean, there's no doubt that this is the right color. I may paint the roof white. Just to give it a little bit of... I may paint the roof white, and I may paint this center part here also white. So it'll be white across the roof and white on this part here. And still leave the fenders and everything in that color. And I may paint this chrome, that line across it chrome. But yeah, it's like lemon cream. You know, it's folk art daybreak. And I could have dry brushed this, but it would have taken longer. And it would have, you know, it wouldn't have looked as good. So you can do, as much as I like to push the airbrush angle, you know, I could still be doing all this stuff with just hand painting it. It's annoying how many layers you have to build some of these colors up with. This is primed in black and just multiple layers of this sprayed on it. There's not like, oh, you got to do brown to get it to cover. Not with an airbrush, you don't. You know? And it's got some shading in there, a little bit. I don't want to do it heavily. Let's put it on the body and see how we're doing. Yeah, I think there was one vehicle the purple one. I was like, this isn't going to turn out well. And then I did the weathering, and I'm like, okay, now it looks good. You know, when it doesn't have any weathering on it, you're like, it looks like a toy. You know. Yeah, the white's just something different, just to make it look, just to give it something. Yeah. If I was going to make another one of these, then I would have painted this insert here that the Twinkies logo sits in white. It still would be lemon cream. And these other inserts also in white. So it'd be like white within the lemon cream, but I didn't know how I was going to decal it, you know? If I make another one, I'm making another one. But now that I know, but I don't know exactly how things were going to just so they pop out a little bit more. But it's not like I'm disappointed with how it turned out. I'm gonna have lots of extra Twinkie stuff. I technically could make another Twinkie vehicle, but if this is big Twink, I guess I have to make a little Twink. A little Twinkie van. Well, I got enough. There's too many different things to do to just go and say, oh, we're gonna make a bunch of Twinkie vehicles. I'm like, okay, well, you're missing out on shit. Yes, I can't put this little cowpoke looking dude, and I kind of wanted to, but shit happens. I don't think I'm going to put this little stop sign on it. I'm going to put the please watch for children on one, and I'm going to put one of these hostess things here. I'm just going to let's just do one step at a time. We'll figure it out. I can't even put one of these characters back here, can I? This guy may fit. Oh, they're all one thing. They're all tied together. Well, it's not going to work. Let's put one of these in here. Please watch for children. Don't bring your kids to Gaslands race. Don't bring them on the track. And don't get me wrong, I prefer the vehicles to actually be transparent. I just, I, I'm not that. I was just winging it a little too much. So I could have done a better job, but it's fine. It'll look good when we do the black lining on it and muddying it up. This turned out really well. This turned out really well. And we'll glue this in place, so this isn't like rotating on us, but it's kind of cool. It's articulated. All right, I'm gonna go use the little boy's room, get some more tea. I'll be right back. Oh, did we leave something? We're not gonna do that. No, let's put this decal on first. If you want to put it on the other side. Caution, please watch for children. All right, now I go pee-pee. Be right back. Okay. What are we going to put on the other side? Well, you put some of these like Twinkie things. The reality is more decals on this thing right now than there might have been if I'd bought this commercially. Let's try putting one of these little... I definitely wasn't going to put it in a white vehicle. Like, boring. It's like Wonder Bread, right? White vehicle just looks like Wonder Bread. Just way too much white. Yeah. Crap. This whole not being able to work over at your work area is kind of annoying. But if I did, I'd get a crick in my neck. You'd be like all hunched over. All right. Oh, let's see what we got here. I was gonna look at the tread pattern, which way it goes. Did you build this? This vehicle looks like a Hummer? The hell did you get those people from? Wow, that looks pretty cool. Oh, that's the Pope Mobile. Right. Okay, got it. Well, the Pope has a some relaxation. Oh, okay. That looks really good. Where's the guy drive from? Oh, who cares? That looks really good. It looks like it's really long. I didn't know you were an apostle of the black priming cadre. It makes no sense not to prime black. It doesn't make any sense. You know, it just, oh, there's a tiny little thing missing. No problem. It's a little shadow. Let's see. I'm just gonna look it up. Let's see. Monster truck tires. Monster truck tires. Images. I want them on the damn vehicle. And not Bigfoot. Yes, they're forward like a V, so they're like this one. So this one's backwards. This goes like this. Let's fire up the hot glue gun and glue this. Let's glue this bitch down. That's the Pope Mobile I was telling you about. Yeah, it's like I've seen like that. It's like a squashed Hummer. I really like my little Pope guy on my DVA Army. There's some epic battles that guy was involved in. Epic battles that involve divine intervention, no doubt. Oh, it slipped off of it. and it's a transparent decal, which means this may not look worth a shit. That's okay. Just the cream filling that's white doesn't look very white. It'll work, or I'll remove it. I think it actually looks okay. It just, uses white as the backing paper. So you're like, oh, that looks really cool, and you put it on there. It's like, oh, it doesn't look as cool because it was using the white as the backing color. I should be able to move this around, not on the micro set, right? Yeah. Instead of opening and closing that thing another couple times. Yeah. I think that's all the decals I'm going to put on it. I think that's all the decals that we're going to put on from this set. So I got enough to do another Twinkie mobile. Alright. See if this is fired up yet. Let's do one tire at a time. And I'd be mixing up so much epoxy if I hadn't done this gone the hot glue gun route. No, if this is all I'm going to do on it, let's drop some microsol on this. I don't know that I've had a great impression of using microsol. I don't know that it works that great. I just use it because I bought the set and it came with the set. Okay, this is going to sit right on top of it like this, we decided. It's got that ledge to sit on, and it's angled down just a slight little bit. And then this thing will go something like that. Now, the glass that's in here. If we put this glass in here, it's going to need to be held in place because we don't have the inner body to hold it in place. And I don't see really any advantage to it unless I don't want to armor it. And the problem with not armoring it is I've got to make it so you don't see inside this, or it's kind of like the front doesn't need to be armored, but this does, but the side does, because there's no interior to this, and I really don't want to put one in there, especially since I think this is just a nice set all together with this that fits on the suspension and everything. Otherwise, we're going to have to pretty much pull these wheels off and just use the wheels by themselves, as opposed to now that we can actually use this lower body as something else. Getting hungry, yeah, it's the story of my life. Get what ice. Okay. Now, there are things here that I'm not sure that I'm going to paint them or not. Well, I am going to paint them. I just don't know that I'm going to paint them the body color. You know, I could also, let's see, if we put this on here, I wouldn't mind it being out here, but I would definitely have to build something that goes out to it, and it's going to be flimsy. I wouldn't mind it being like out here, but we're going to have to build something to it. If I want it close to the body, it's got to be like that. And I feel like this needs to have these supports. It needs to be this color as well. So I think at this point, this would be a good point to paint the roof white and this white and this yellow. So let's do that. Let's do that. And I'm going to paint it straight white, or we're going to shade it. I think we're going to need to do this. You recently spent $7 on a makeup brush kit for dry brushing. Makes dry brushing so much more fun than it already was. And you think that the brush is durable enough? I'm just, I don't know. I'd rather get a whole pack of brushes for $7, even though there's not one. I mean, I know people rave about them, but I feel like the dry brushes get ruined anyway. No matter what you do, they get ruined. You just go over surfaces that just beat the shit out of them. It just seems like that's the case. I haven't done it yet. And I'm bad about cleaning them. Sorry, I gotta be bad about something. Why you gotta be bad about so many things? Well, there's that too. Man, man, you suck at a lot of stuff. Well, that may be. I feel like I got to give it some shading, meaning I gotta work it up to white. I feel like I have to. I have a responsibility to do that. Yeah, send me a picture of it and where you got it at. I'll give it a shot. So much more fun than it already is. It is fun, isn't it? It is. It's a lot of fun. It's more fun now than it's ever been. Once I like realized, oh, you can't just dry brush one color. You gotta. I mean, I realized that a long time ago, but still, it's like, oh, you can't dry brush one color. You've got to dry brush lots of layers to get it to look great. And I think that's too small. Yeah, see this? I use this for dry brush. I left the paint on there. I mean, I just hand sanitizer it out, but let's see what we got. Didn't come through yet. It just came up as Amazon. But that's all I got. You know, people are like, oh, why are you buying things through Amazon? You should go to a store. Well, the problem is okay, I'm all for getting at a store, right? Because you can get it immediately. But they don't have things in stock. Nobody that works there gives a shit or knows when they're going to get another one in. They can't order things from you. All while you're burning up your free time and gas. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Well, it's bad for the environment to use Amazon. Well, it's bad for the environment not to use Amazon. And, like, drive around town freaking, going through gasoline. I was betting, man, I would put money you would like it, but I'm never going back. Ruins the brush, and it's like a one and done thing. These makeup brushes last a lot longer. Well, they're probably made better, Okay, here we go. We got this one. Soyok. Another make-believe thing. Okay. All right, that's a good deal. That's a lot of brushes for... Okay. What do you use? You can even do your eyelashes with them. Okay, so these are good, huh? Done. He'll be here tomorrow. What the hell, Yep. Seems like a good deal. Then I cannot destroy these brushes for the other stuff, which is probably the whole reason you got it also. And I'm really bad about not throwing brushes away. Like, I had like hundreds of brushes that I just had to man, we gotta get rid of these things. There's nowhere to put them. Let's not violate that. Let's get a... Use them. Oh, I don't sometimes clean them, but I need to be better on that. Yeah, I need to be better at it as well. But I mean, I got a way to clean them. It takes time, I know there was one day I sat around and cleaned about 50 brushes, and it takes, it just takes time. It's not difficult. It's kind of fun to do. It's like, man, this is never going to be... And you get all the paint off, and you're like, son of a bitch, this works great. The whole hand sanitizer thing. But you can't reshape them, Once they've gone south, let's pull this thing out. There we go. Yeah, I think it's going to look a lot better with some parts painted in a different color. Basically, what I've got the vehicle to the point now is where I may have purchased a vehicle that looked like this, and now at this point I'm going to enhance it. You know, like it was already a Twinkie's car. It was already branded a certain way. Let's paint, you know, let's paint all the details at the paint department. Yeah, it's going to look better. It might look okay in gray, to be honest with you. Why don't you just grab a gray and start painting it that color? Habit. It's just habit. I gotta be careful not get too carried away, or I'm gonna ruin what I did. Be right back. Did it already ship? That's a little too extreme. You know, by the time you go to Sally Beauty Supply or something like that, you drive all the way over there. It's costing you more. It costs you more money. Okay. So this is going to be we're going to need to go to a smaller brush, but let's see how far we can get with this. Let's just do all in this color, and then we can pinpoint paint the rest of this stuff. I don't know that I like the nose. in white. I don't know yet. I feel like I need to follow through with it though. To give it a fair shot. Not an Amazon or Dollar General fan, but I can see their usefulness. Well, you have to remember that, you go to some place like, there's stores that I used to like going to, and I don't go to them anymore because they either don't have anything, or the people that work there have zero interest in helping you, or they can't tell you anything, and it's like, between the gas and how much of your free time it uses up, it's like it just doesn't make sense. It just seems like these retail, and I've worked retail before, and these retail jobs where people have their cell phones and they surf on them, man, it's not like you need to be, like waiting on me hand and foot, but like you need to be around when you gotta, when we need you. Ah, fumble fuck. All right, we need to lose this. It's a little too. Weight disparity weird. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Let's see where's the stick 'em. Here we go. That's gonna be a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna cut the end of this thing. It's a long ass freaking brush that's unnecessary. Let's give this a fair shot. Okay? Let's not jump to conclusions yet. Fuck, I just got an ad that was weird. I don't know. Is this fucking thing listening to us? Where are you at that you got an ad? Go on the main sheet here. I don't have an ad for any of those places. Yeah, the place that was really scary, there's a store, and I don't see very many of them anymore, what was it called? Not Dollar General. Dollar Generals normally feel pretty modern. It's Family Dollar. You step into a Family Dollar, and it's like you step into like the 1960s or something like that. It's like things just feels like another world. This little town that I live in, they fight these big commercial things coming in, and the problem isn't that I'm like pro commercial places, but like if you go to a restaurant or a store or something like that, and you work a normal, I don't like saying 9 to 5, because if you go to work at 9, that's a bit late. I know you'd agree with me, but if you work, a normal job with normal hours, Monday through Friday, and the place closes like by the time you get off work, what good is it to you for that place to even exist? It's like, there'll be little mom and pop things like, well, nobody comes and shops this stuff. It's like, well, your place closes at 6. Like, how the hell am I going to get there? I mean, what do? Cater to the Mitches of the world that, have weird hours? You know, so this little town, like, man, nobody goes to our restaurant. Man, your friggin' restaurant closes at 6 p.m. How the hell am I going to go there? We can't be open weekends. We need a day off. We didn't take off Monday and Tuesday, you know? Take off Monday and Tuesday, so Mitch can't shop there. You know, these little mom and pop places don't have a lot of people working at them, so it's usually the same people every day. So yeah, they need a day off. I get it, but don't complain. Nobody goes to your store. We're all at work. You know, got out in the middle of my stream. Yeah, Family Dollar can be really shady. The only thing I like about keeping the large corporations away is food. My brother's wife is from a small town, Texas, that doesn't let just any corporation in. It has some nice food. Yeah, well, it used to be, you know, pre-COVID. I'm gonna say pre-COVID. That chain restaurants, you know, there was some sense of like quality in a chain, right? Like you go in and you go to some, and I'm not going to name any chains because, you know, I don't really like going to any of them anymore. But there were some chains where you would get either value or quality for what you went. But since COVID, like everybody's cutting every fucking corner possible. That, you know, people that make boxes, they're now round because they cut all the corners on a box. You know, it's just like chains suck. And nobody that works at them gives a shit, and the managers don't care, and it's like, well, we don't have this anymore on the menu, and we cut the menu down, and it's just like, there's like zero reason to go to one. And there was before, because there was some quality that could be like, you know, there was some standards, you know, that you're like, okay, well, I know I'm going to get at least this if I get there, instead of just being a total die roll. Okay, it's looking better now. It's looking better. I know what the problem is. The problem is I don't like the continuity between the front of this and the nose. So the front, I'm probably going to have to paint back in yellow so that there's a space between the white and the yellow. And I think that's the problem that I'm having. I'm having a spatial. Boy, I did a shit job of painting the side of this. I used too big of a brush. Yeah, it just means I gotta correct it. How did this paint get up down here? Well, it's a good thing we're... Oh, come on. Now you're just being a dick. Now you're just being a dick. Dick. Yeah, and the COVID just like, okay, well, corporations have to show a profit no matter what happens. The Mongols could have invaded. Well, we got to show that we did better this year, no matter what. Like, they got to cheat, steal, rob, murder babies, whatever. You know, I'm using an extreme example, or maybe I'm not, you know, to show a profit every year, no matter what. So, yeah. Post C word, huge chains are dead. Gonna be a robot worker soon. It's gonna be weird. I said we buy all the lubricant and the robots can't get any. The C word. You're right. Yeah, I think that center part definitely is chrome, or should be chrome painted. This will end up looking good in the end. It's just like it's just taking more time than I figured it would. Well, the secret to completing it is don't go buy a fucking foam cutter. Yeah, I think I need to dial back that. Now the problem is going to be painting the craft paint on by hand. I've had worse. Two more. You're getting ads in the middle of my feed. That's unacceptable. That's not enabled. They want you to enable it every time. Let me see if I can do something about that. I have not. I am 100% against that.
I don't need more water than this, right?
Let's see. Let's look at this.
The time doesn't change, right? For the eggs, based on.
Okay, mid-roll ads, mode, manual. See, I don't have automatic on. I don't want automatic, and I don't want scheduled.
We should buy more eggs this weekend. Yeah,
Select frequency.
there's only 2 left now.
You could set it to every 6 minutes? That would drive people crazy. All right, let's do this. I don't know if this is going to make it better. Let's do ads scheduled every 30 minutes. And at least maybe you won't get another ad for 30 minutes. That's got to be better than what you're suffering under. I have it set to manual and I don't put anything on it. But they changed the ad thing, how it was working a couple of weeks ago. All right, maybe it's better. I don't want mid-roll ads, you know? I'm not doing this for the revenue. I'm doing it for the interaction. If I want to do it for the revenue, I'd be making DBA videos. Okay, the fenders I might actually do in white. But let's figure out how this is going to work. I hate ads. Because I may just be talking about something you're finally interested in listening about, and that's when the ad kicks in. I know, I've been there. I've been on the other side. I don't want that crap. Let's see if I can do this. That works. So, the craft paint, even though it's thin, you still have to thin it with water. Where are we gonna change this out? Let's go across there. Yeah, ads shouldn't be a problem. Midstream ads shouldn't be a problem if I'm not saying anything. You don't miss anything. That definitely improved it. But now I gotta. There's a lot of covering involved in it. I'm gonna have to go over this several times. That's my own fault for jumping ahead. That's definitely better. That's what it needed. just going to apply this kind of thick, and not really kind of thick. I mean, it is watered down, but we're going to stipple it to add thickness. And that's going to make this process a lot faster. Kind of a wet stipple. Whipple. Much better. Much better.
In the back. It was with my stuff, with receipts and stuff. Yeah. Is it okay to fold it over like that? Yeah, you can drop it a little bit. Doesn't have to be extra high. So it's medium. I actually like the room temperature more. You do? That looks really good. I was told.
Okay.
I got a stain on this shirt. I don't know when. Do you need to do that?
All right, well, that's where I'm going to stop this morning. There's plenty more to do on this guy, but at least we're definitely heading in the right direction. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. Sorry about the ad.